Hey there, I'm Colin Weston, host of the Mod Golf Podcast. Thanks for joining our YouTube channel and our video here today, which is an extended conversation with the guest I just had on our long form audio podcast to start off season 12. Very exciting stuff. And that is Jordan Lunetta, who is the CEO of ODIN Golf. And I'm not going to tell too much about what ODIN does before I start talking too much more. I want to get Jordan on here. And I believe there he is. Jordan, good to see you again, my friend.
What's up, Colin? Good to be here.
San Francisco today?
It's good. It's as the audience will see, or the listeners will see in the pod, I live most of my time in Berlin, Germany, which I'm happy to be getting my vitamin D out here. Let's just say that.
There we go. You're gonna get a little bit of sunshine before you head back to the rain, which I'm familiar with most of the year, at least 7 months of the year here in Vancouver. Living in a rainforest, you're going to get some rain. So, but it's going to be sunny out today, and it's going to get sunnier. So I'll get my vitamin D over the next little while. So, hey, for all of our viewers out there, Jordan and I had this great conversation talking about his original connection to golf, as far as what he's done in the tech space, why and when he actually moved to Berlin. That wasn't just random. Maybe it was part random, but it's all worked out for him. And we talked about the aha moment of him and his buddies forming ODIN Golf. So, hey, we're going to hold off on repeating that because, hey, we want to give you some fresh content here. Otherwise, why are you going to watch this? You can go back to listen to what we already did. So, hey, we talked about the past. We started to talk about the future a little bit and what you've done with launching your ODIN membership NFT. So why don't we pick up again where we left off there, Jordan? Why don't you tell our viewers here what you actually have done to expand this awesome, a bit irreverent, but very inclusive golf community of like-minded, awesome people, of what really is part of your why. So tell us, pick up the story there with what you've done with the ODIN NFT, and then we can start talking a little more about where you're going.
We started ODIN with wanting to have a boldness to it, a fresh look of golf in one sense, but also speaking to the everyday golfer, because the four of us are everyday golfers that started ODIN, of speaking to them like we would, and that comes through in our marketing and the boldness of our tagline, "Go balls out always," and the bold ODIN splattering on the packaging, which we talked about previous in the audio forum. And for us, we said, how do we get the community involved on a more compelling level? And we talked about how we felt like the NFT as a vehicle was the chance to do that, to have an ODIN founding member be a part of the brand equity. So not only not owning a piece of the business, but having a stake in the brand equity and ethos as it grows over time, and being kind of a loyalist and reaping the benefits of that too as the NFT grows in value. And the other thing we mentioned was this is very much a utility token. So there's the difference between a security token, which is owning a piece of the business, like an equity that's regulated heavily, whereas we decided to go with the utility token. And for someone who bought an ODIN founding member NFT, there was value that they got out of it. There's the initial things like discounts, early access to new products, building things with us in our Discord channel, which is 500 people now in our community, having a first look at things. And the next piece of this is, what does the next piece of our digital experience look like on our roadmap? And that's what we're thinking about and building now, of the ODIN app that you have on the course, where you can play to earn ODIN tokens. And it all starts with what we call the ODIN player card in the form of an NFT. And we have two really cool characters that people can go see on our website, futureofgolf.co, and we have the collection on OpenSea. And for us, we said, look, with the collection, we want it to be live and breathe the come one, come all mentality and ethos of the brand. And hence why we spent a lot of time on the characters and worked with a really awesome illustrator on those. So you can go check those out separately. And so for the digital experience we're building, the vision that we have for ODIN is the de facto platform for the everyday golfer. So no matter who you are, whether you're a golf league, a single golfer in a golf group, a golf course, you come into the Odin platform, not only a place to get your course essentials, the balls, the gear, the gadgets, the accessories, etc., but you have these digital Lego blocks that we give you to gamify your course experience, set up and grow your leagues. If you're a course, you can build out and get your community together for certain tournaments. And that all runs through the Odin app. And on top of that, we have this Odin currency, the Odin utility token that you can get value out of. And the way it works is you have three ways to get access to it in the app. You can buy an Odin NFT player card that you can use for growing the attributes and having a certain amount of earning power. You can rent one from someone else in the community, or you can buy a dozen of the Odin golf balls, which gives you a certain amount of access to when you go to the course, you open up your app, you GPS to the course and put your score, and you're able to earn Odin tokens as you play. And for us, we said, no matter who you are, we want you to get value out of the platform. And in this case, you're already happen to be playing golf. Why not earn along the way and really gamify the experience? And bridging, which we'll get into with the metaverse, is bridging the online with the reality, which is where Web3 comes in, kind of the Web3 umbrella that everyone's been talking about. But one thing we found was, before we get into the details more, which I think would be interesting for the audience who may be wondering, what was the reception with this and what did you learn and what were some of the insights? And I think the big thing was very quickly that it was new for the golf world, and the feedback we got was, this is like iPhone 1 and the technology adopter curve, but everyone still wants their BlackBerry keys and Palm Pilot beaming, which was very sexy back in the day. But we've moved leaps and bounds thanks to Moore's law, which I think is the computing power is doubling ways faster than 18 months.
Right.
Anyways, we're dating ourselves here, Colin. But the point is, we said, this is what we found, that it was still very new. And one of the things that we wanted to do for the golf community in general, given that we're pioneering this for them, is simple things: how to set up a digital wallet, how to buy an NFT, how to connect it to OpenSea. And I know you went through that and we talked about it on getting over that initial hurdle. And what we found is once people got over the initial hurdle, it was incredibly exciting for them. And that's why we said, look, we want to handhold and really be there for people, because we know that with pioneering something and something new, there's early adopters that get it, but there's also the later adopters and the technology curve that comes into play. And eventually we'll get to iPhone 3, 4, 5 and the clothing of NFT, what we're talking about. So that's what we found. And we said, look, we have massive ambitions. We have this North Star for building the company, but it's very much brick by brick, and getting the community bought in. And we partner with a lot of big golf leagues and golf influencers as well. We did custom NFTs for them to say, look, yes, this is part of it, of fueling the next wave of growth for Odin, but we want to get you into the mix here. This is the future of digital consumption and the future of golf as we see it and we're building. So that's why people are excited. But it will take time, but we're in it for the long haul, Colin.
Yeah, you're definitely on the kind of the front end of the curve there, of the tail. So with that, this innovator's dilemma, and you touched on the innovator, or the technology adoption curve that comes
Right.
in. And at the beginning of that, of course, you've got the pioneers and the innovators that make up like 5-10% of that. And I think you and I kind of fall in that category, those people that would line up years ago for the first iPhone in the rain, where if you went the next day, you can actually just buy it, but you had it first. That's
Right.
the key.
Mm-hmm.
And other technology, or even things that people in the golf space know, someone like Topgolf. Topgolf is now
Mm-hmm.
through that into the not only the early majority, but the later majority, half the population. There's awareness. People that don't even play golf now know what Topgolf is, was compared to 5 years ago, they were still at that early stages also. So as one with Odin, that you're testing this and taking that tech developer mindset and that innovator mindset of realizing not everything's going to work. It's
Mm-hmm.
that kind of minimum viable product and kind of that lean startup approach. So with your first foray into the NFT space, what has worked and what hasn't worked. Not that that's always an experiment, it's not a failure. And what would you do more of in the future, and what maybe would you do less of, and what things would you try new?
What worked really well is we spent a lot of time for us, the four of us. I talked about the story on the audio form, have built and scaled tech companies. So we're savvy enough in the tech world, but a lot of this stuff candidly was quite new for us. So we said, first and foremost, let's understand this ourselves, putting ourselves in the shoes of who we're going to bring this to in the form of value for them. How do we understand it? How do we feel about it? Is this something we consume, we participate in? So that was kind of our starting point. Again, from since day one of ODIN, we're everyday golfers, we're building for everyday golfers. That was kind of the initial litmus test that we go through. So we spent a lot of time going through this and learning it, and then eventually we stumbled upon the right form factor for this, and also not only the vehicle, the NFT and what it looks like, but how do we explain it? How do we take it to market, the go to market and software speak, and position it and illustrate it for people? Because as we touched on earlier, consumers are selfish. They've limited attention spans, especially these days. There's a lot of noise. Trim it down. What's in it for me? So we spent a lot of time on that, and that worked really well. The second thing that worked really well is from day one, we built up this grassroots community with not only through our social club, but with adjacent brands and all the go US as part of an integral part of building with us in our community, supporting them, building value for them. So the other thing was we had these launch partners, Tropicana, New Nine, fellow Canadian, Four Gals Golf, Save Par, and we said, given we're come one, come all, we want to do that through this too. And we did custom NFTs for them, and we launched with them as launch partners to say, hey, look, we know this is incredibly daunting, and delving in this world is very hard, but we're here to do this for this. We're here to do it for you. This is a way to do it. We're making it easy, because maybe down the line you want to be able to do your own NFT collection, or get your community engage on a more compelling level. So it was not only building value for them, but also allowing them to learn and delve into this world. And like I said earlier, once they got into it, that initial hurdle of skepticism, they're very excited about it. And that's something that worked really well. And for things that we like to look at it from a silver lining standpoint, we'll always be learning, right? You as a fellow entrepreneur can vibe with that very well. Of it's still incredibly new, and you almost have to over communicate and over educate in a lot of ways, which I think the workload and that part of it, we knew it was going to be quite a bit, but I think the work is cut out for us, which we're excited about. And it's also very good for us to learn as we go and articulate it and position it. But that was something that we've been met head on with. There's a lot of work to be done. And also for a technology adopter curve, that's also incredibly important too. When you take something to market, like we talked about earlier, the market timing for a startup, the team, the product, lightning in a bottle, but market timing is incredibly important. Golf boomed incredibly so over the past couple of years. This is another lens of that, bringing the golf world into, if you go to Twitter, feels like it's already been done 10 years ago, which is definitely not the case. But for the golf world, Web3, NFTs, and cryptocurrencies is very early. So that's the big learning that we had there.
And what I love about the culture that you've cultivated here with ODIN, you and your founding members, is that the pure entrepreneurial spirit of just trying things. There is no perfect, right? You just have to ship it and try it, treat it like an experiment, rather than holding off and going, no, in your mind. And we can always find 20 ways to talk ourselves out of anything in life. And rather than saying, well, it's still early days with NFTs, maybe we should hold off and wait and see what everybody else is doing and wait for the right time. Whereas what you've done, you've just put it out there. You've done it in a way that it's a minimal financial risk for you because you and your team, you have the skills and the tools and the experience to build most of this yourself. So I'm assuming most of it is sweat equity with a little bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
That then you're poised because it's not going to be just a a one and done type of thing. Whenever the time is that you do a second one or evolves into the next thing, you'll already have that feedback loop of what you've learned, what you've taken away from this to ready to build the next one rather than waiting for the perfect time,
Mm-hmm.
which never comes. So I applaud you on that. The fact you guys just you know what you just went ahead and did it, and then are now looking to, as we talked about, what worked, what hasn't, what we're
Mm-hmm.
going to do more of, and the new things that
Mm-hmm.
we're going to apply to that. So it's exciting. So that's that mindset for everybody out there watching, that entrepreneur's mindset. Just get something out there and
Mm-hmm.
test it early, because the last thing you want to do is create something. What's the old entrepreneurial saying that the worst thing you do is create a solution looking for a problem.
Mm-hmm.
With
Right.
something you think is great, but you're too scared to go out and ask anybody if they've actually buy it, or they actually
Mm-hmm.
like it, or if they've actually use it. And if
Right.
not, maybe how would you change that a little bit? So you're very good at that on the customer discovery side, and
Mm-hmm.
knowing who your community and your tribe is. And it's exciting times for Odin. I'm happy for you guys. Looking
Well,
forward to
thank you. Yeah, we appreciate all the help and support. And like I said, we love what you're doing. We thank you all that you do for the community with the Mod Golf Pod, and exciting times for you ahead as well, with the NFT Web3 route. And one thing before we go here, we should talk about, because I'm super excited about, and this is what we're thinking about now, of this play to earn experience of people, or if you play video games or you haven't, this video game mechanic but in real life. So for you in your endeavors and what you're doing, how are you thinking about the metaverse in itself, the digital, but also bridging that with the reality, which um, I think that's how we're thinking about it, and I think that's where it gets really exciting, um, because if you take the metaverse in itself, there's an argument that that's further down the line, but the bridge between the two with the reality, and you mentioned Top Golf and some of these other places that are thinking about it. I know you're thinking about it closely. How do you view that, the two, bridging the two and working together in tandem?
Yeah, I think for everything that we're working on with our company, Reviver Sport Entertainment, which of course
Mm-hmm.
the Mod Golf podcast is a media asset that we have within Reviver, it always comes back to our why and wanting to create these magical, unexpected experiences, engaging experiences for fans, for athletes, and for brands. That's what we strive to do all the time with the things that we do, whether there's no technology involved or they're a pure technology venture or some combination thereof. And starting out with events based, and my background is architecture and an events designer, an
Mm-hmm.
experienced designer, they were in real life. And of course, with more of a hybrid coming out of COVID, and now with the opportunities within Metaverse, it all lies in my mind for what we do, embracing that overarching philosophy and ideology that is it engaging for the people that you are looking to have this resonate with? And if it's in the metaverse, if it's through VR, AR, mixed reality, some combination thereof, all the things that we're creating in this sport entertainment space, especially in golf,
Mm-hmm.
and lots of things to come for all of our viewers out there through what we're doing with Reviver. We've been on the download developing them for the last little while here, but yes, the metaverse we're looking perhaps we in tandem of having something that's actually in venue in real life to have
Mm-hmm.
that also released at the same time in the metaverse, so they both grow as far as brand awareness. You can go to one and get value from the other. You can start
Mm-hmm.
to earn rewards and delighters like you talked about there as far as gamifying the experience. And with Odin,
Mm-hmm.
the same thing. I'm sure with all the coins and tokens that people can acquire, that
Mm-hmm.
well, what is that worth? Is that just some feel good thing that I've got in my wallet? And I think the answer is no. You can actually then get free golf balls. You can get merch, or you can get discount codes on things, and all of a sudden
Mm-hmm.
unlocks that next level of engagement and value for people that shows that it just deepens that relationship that they're part of your tribe. And that's
Hmm.
what we're about too.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think what you mentioned around, and this is how we think about it too, is a lot of this, the NFT is a vehicle, and it's really the customer value that we're building. I think it's interesting what you mentioned around the delivery of the metaverse, the VR, AR, et cetera, where it's through an app, and it's going to be interesting to see um, how people consume it, because I feel like the VR headsets, for example, I'm not too into the details of it, but my observation is there was kind of a Wave, Oculus, and which I guess is part of Meta, or anyway, the delivery of it, there were some early adopters, but it didn't take off, I think, as people expected it to. But I know there's a lot of people excited about AR, which is kind of the in-betweener, which is a little bit lower barrier, and it can come in the form of glasses. I know Google Glass, Google made a crack at it, and Snap, and all those companies. So it'll be interesting to see in our context in golf and what you're doing, which we'll be sharing over the coming weeks and months, I'm sure, with the audience, what the delivery is of it, and it comes back to the quintessence of the delighter feature, however that's delivered, right?
100%, 100%. Well, on that delightful note, I think why don't we wrap it up here? And I think we're gonna have to jump on another call in or have another episode with you in another year. Just to, it's like you were moving so fast with so many interesting things happening here that will definitely be a follow up here. We'll definitely have to have you back. So, but let's wrap up the first one here. But before we go here, for our viewers, if they want to learn more about what you're talking about with this Odin founding member NFT, where can they go to check that out?
So you can go to futureofgolf.co to learn more about the future we're building, the founding member NFTs, and this play to earn experience we're building, the everyday golfer platform. And if you're in the US and interested in checking out our balls and gear, you can go to odin-golf.com, or you can get them on Amazon. And you can follow us on Instagram, odin.golf. Send us a message, email me, jordan@odingolf.com. Let us know what you think. We're here for you. We're really excited to build the community. And Colin, thanks so much for having me on. This was a ton of fun. And hopefully there's some lessons and learnings that people can get too, in whatever context you're working in, building a company, or running a business, or in your daily work. Hopefully there's some inspiration and excitement that you can kind of come away from this and fire it up and go do your best work.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, hey, all the viewers out there, if you enjoyed this conversation, and Jordan, I got to say, you definitely you tick the boxes of our tagline, of course, which is we speak to the entrepreneurs, the innovators, the disruptors, and the influencers who are shaping the future of golf. You and the gang at Odin are definitely helping shape that. So thank you for all the hard work that you're doing and having fun while you're doing it. So so all the viewers, hey, if you want to check out more of these conversations, down below, subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment and ask us what you would like to learn about the future of golf and about just entrepreneurship in general, because we have all these conversations. Some are more golfy than others, but golf is that golden thread that winds through them all that we have here. So, so hey, Jordan, why don't we leave it at that? Good seeing you again today, and thanks for joining me again on the Mod Golf Podcast YouTube channel.
Sounds good, Colin. Thanks. Take care. Talk to you soon.